Okay. Hello, my name is Dalila, and I formerly worked at the Center for Worker Justice as a community organizer. So I'll be talking a little bit about my organization. So the Center for Worker Justice, or also known as CWJ, was um, started as an immigrant voice project, but that was a local grassroots movement formed in Iowa City back in January 2012. Through the Immigrant Voice Project, local residents that identify as African, Asian, and Latino came together to identify shared priorities and forge new alliance for change. So they launched a community-wide survey to revealed widespread concerns of injustices at work, abusive landlords, negative interaction with the law enforcement, and the lack of access of information in their native languages. So the Immigrant Voice Project leaders formed committees to address these issues backed by a network of organizations like unions, faith-based groups, and civil rights groups. Since 2012, CWJ has engaged thousands of low-wage workers and coalition partners in achieving groundbreaking victories that improve their lives of people across our region. Um, so working together, we passed Iowa's first minimum wage increase. So here in Iowa, our minimum wage is $7.25, but with our community, we managed to raise it to 10.10 with the help of over 160 local businesses that helped maintain it when the status legislators preempted the increase. We also established the first community ID here in our county. With this community ID, anyone can apply, but it mostly helps our immigrant community. They can use it to open a bank account or to show some type of identification if they ever are stopped by law enforcement. Um, we also helped recover over $200,000 of unpaid wages since 2012. We formed tenants associations to protect against the development that threatens affordable housing and to fight evictions. Another program that we did that happened back in COVID was My Home to Yours, where we got over $500,000 in donations, and we helped provide over 700 families during the COVID pandemic. So my project mostly focused on wage theft in Iowa. So wage theft is when employers do not pay workers according to the law. And we sometimes also collab with Common Good Iowa, which is a policy maker group organization. And they reported back in 2022 that over $900 million is stolen yearly from Iowans. And that accounts mostly from overtime violations. So here in Iowa, we have our Division of Labor division, and in that division, there is only 2 investigators for the whole state of Iowa. And to file a claim for wage theft, the claim has to be less than a year old, and can't go over than $6,000. Can't go over $6,000. So here at our center, it doesn't matter how much you're owed, we will help recover that as long as there's proof. So in 2023, we recovered $62,000 and $62,029 from stolen wages, rental security deposits, and miscellaneous housings and lien issues. And every year we see an increase in stolen wages. So my key stakeholders I wanted to focus on was the community, advocacy organizations, and government. But my main focus for this project was our low-wage workers. So what they need to do is that they need to get informed, educated, and take action. Without this, they are terrified to file a claim, usually from what we noticed. And the information that they need is, how do I start the process? Not a lot of people here knows that you can start a process for wage theft, especially our immigrant population. They think that since they're undocumented, they cannot recover the wages that have been stolen from them. And another thing they need to know if they are a victim of wage theft. So the data that I used to start my project was from our wage theft cases. I used the number of cases that we had, who is affected from wage theft. Um, I specifically used the data from the wage theft cases that was recovered and the demographic forms from them. So here is um, the project that I am developing. So I wanted to do a infographic, but had difficulties deciding how I wanted to design it. So I ended up more as a comic. The main focus I wanted people to focus on is immigration status. Here we can see from our cases between 2022 and 2023, we had over 50 um, people who identify as immigrants, and they're, as we could tell, are the ones mostly affected in wage theft within our area. Um, I mostly wanted to focus on the information wage theft, who is affected by it. It's mostly people of color, immigrants, and women. Um, and we can kind of tell by that from our data too. In the second slide, I want people to focus on is how to apply for wage theft. There's a long process. If they want to file with the Department of Labor or the Department of Division of Labor here in Iowa, it can take up to years for people to recover their money. But with us, with the Center for Worker Justice, we try to recover within a month or two. So the process that we want people to focus on is we mediate between the employee and the employer. We set up phone calls, meetings, and then if the employer does not want to do those initiations, we then proceed to the next higher step, which is um, doing a protest or mostly doing a protest or escalating by informing the media press. I also started working on it in Spanish. This is my rough draft. It still needs to be fixed, edited. But I also wanted it to be in other languages, like in French and in Arabic, since we have a high population of those populations. So my key designs that I considered were the languages and if it will be easy to translate into them. I wanted it to also be easy to understand, especially because um, the immigrant population or just low-wage workers have different literacy levels. I wanted to see if it could be posted online or printed for people to make flyers, have it in other nonprofit organizations. And I also was trying to consider if it's applicable for all ages because we have teenagers working, and then we have older people who are working. The tools, the way I wanted it to be used is it's going to be for the public. They could share it online and other organizations can use it for like a way to educate others or use it during their workshops. Some of the reflections I had for this project is knowing my key audience. Um, it was a little difficult to know who my key audience was or who was going to be. Then the design. was very difficult on my end, trying to organize and not to overflow everyone with too much information. And